If you're doing some sort of real estate and you're working a lot with leads, whether you're a broker, you're a investor, and in short, what you're really doing is just trying to find motivated property sellers, finding the lists or acquiring the list online from a service like PropStream or some sort of tool like ListSource or some sort of other platform online where you can easily just segment and filter for specific properties you're looking to contact, or any other platform where you can easily acquire lists to then potentially find off-market deals or maybe properties that are actually on the market. So the problem here isn't really about acquiring the list. It's really about prioritizing who to focus on, because if you can actually prioritize out of 100 people, say maybe 5 to 10 targeted people, and of them actually get a response, and then from them have a very high conversion rate, that can literally save you a bunch of time and make you a bunch of more money in the long run if you actually have the signals and reasons why you should contact them over everybody else in your pipeline. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I used AI to find highly motivated property sellers and how you can actually do this yourself, whether you're using a tool like Claude, Codex, or maybe even Manus. I'm going to dive right into the computer and show you exactly what I did to find and curate a highly data-enriched property seller list of potential leads and how you can contact them and do this yourself. All right, so as I mentioned, from a lot of people that I've spoken to in real estate, especially doing like commercial real estate, whatever, especially even you're a broker, the problem isn't necessarily acquiring the list. There are many platforms online where you can acquire lists. Maybe there are backend APIs that you are accessing. Maybe you're using tools like Reonomy. Maybe you're using tools like Crexy. Maybe something like CoStar, whatever. You're acquiring these lists and you can easily export, say, a segment of people that you could potentially contact, right? Especially if they're off market. Finding off market deals, that's pretty much like the holy grail here, because if you can find it, perhaps you can make more profit, you can make more money off of it, right? And then you're pretty much the first to market over everyone else. And at the end of the day, there's pretty much less competition in terms of who you're competing with to acquire the property, right? Especially if you can secure the deal. So whether you're using any of these tools, like I said, it isn't really the problem of acquiring the list, because there's so many ways and places where you can actually acquire lists. The real challenge is being able to triangulate and make sense of all this information out there, combining it with, say, web information and then some AI, and then from there finding highly motivated signals in terms of what you're specifically looking for. So you can, say, contact a handful of people over hundreds of people, where it may not even just make sense to do it. Because think about it, if you're doing a bunch of volume and it's not really attracting the type of sellers you want, or maybe they're just landing you in spam, messing up your deliverability. And at the end of the day, that's not what you want, right? What we want at the end of the day is just really be able to secure these deals. And then from there, just be hyper targeted about who we're contacting and why, right? Like that's the key thing here, being able to find the why. So what I did here was I opened, this is Codex, by the way, so it's something similar like Claude Desktop, but it's basically by ChatGPT, OpenAI. So what you can literally do here is data enrich these leads. So whether you're exporting, say, a lead list from like PropStream, or you're exporting a list from somewhere else, or maybe you already have a massive curated list of, say, commercial property sellers or potential residential sellers, whatever, all you really have to do is drop in the export lead list, right? And then give it a simple prompt. So pretty much something like enrich these leads in my lead list, find signal to see whether or not these are motivated property sellers. And if so, who can I contact and why? So this was a super generic prompt, I know, but the thing is you can make it even more specific to the criteria you're looking for. Are you looking for tax delinquencies, foreclosures? Are you looking for something more specific, backed on mortgages? Whatever it is you're looking for, what you want is to be very hyper specific in terms of the data enrichment that you're looking for. Because if you're looking for specific data enrichment in the signal that gives you a clear buy signal or a send signal, you can pretty much get the AI to scour the whole entire internet, find different signal, make sense of it, and then from there give you a hyper personalized lead list of who you can contact and why. So after a few minutes of the AI going out there, it probably took roughly like 6 to 10 minutes of it going out there, creating this lead list. I already did this beforehand because I just wanted to make sure I did this beforehand. And also too, I have to like not actually show legitimate data, because that would be invasion of someone's privacy. And also this video will probably get striked down. So what I did here was I created a sample set of data. And with this sample set, I can show you a real life example of like, okay, if you were to actually do this with your own lead list, how can it potentially look like? So there's a combination of multiple things here, multiple columns. So we have like the address, city, state, the owner name, if any owners are found. Maybe there are multiple owners. Maybe you can, what you can do here is you can enrich this data by motivation score. So is this like a S tier? Is this like 100? You can also give it a priority list, motivated seller read. So what the AI did was it gave me like a read signal, like yes, no, possible, unclear, recommended person to contact. So who it can potentially contact, the LLC, or maybe it's like a nonprofit or some other sort of entity holding it. Why this person, why you should contact this, what's the reason here, what's the actual motivation signal. So it's been XYZ days on the market. Maybe there's been multiple price cuts. Maybe there's some sort of bank foreclosure. Maybe they're getting some sort of local city fines and fees that is kind of just eating into their cash flow or just making them super unprofitable. And then you can also, I know some of these outreach angles kind of suck here, but you can also get it to become even more hyper personalized based on what you're looking for. But the suggested outreach angles, you can go about it, and also like a source list of like where this information was sourced from. So this is like super generic, but in terms of what you're looking for, you can expand it and even go even further and deeper in terms of what you're looking for. So such as the LinkedIn contacts, maybe what you can do is like beforehand, because like a lot of the leads that you probably have, they're probably already skip traced and you probably already have a lot of information in it beforehand. So the more information you have beforehand, like coming into the AI to like enrich it with like all the information on the web, it just makes it like even more powerful versus say just using a simple skip traced lead list. Because if you have the skip traces in, so you have basic general contact information, name, email, whatever, maybe you have valid emails and stuff like that's pretty good in itself. But the next question is, what about this should I, like, why this lead, why this row? You know what I mean? So that's where the AI agent comes in. You could feed it into Codex, you could feed it into Claude, and then from there, what you can do is you can make this thing super powerful. And the way you would make it super powerful is you would pretty much just prompt and be like, hey, show me the reason why. Who should I contact? You know what I mean? What's their LinkedIn? Are there any sort of online files I can look at? Maybe any sort of resources, PDFs, or any sort of, say, public information about maybe their tax information, mortgages, whatever, that kind of feeds into the row that makes it more enriched. And then it, based off all this information, it gives the AI like a scoring reason and a priority list of like who to contact and why. And from this, it could just literally give you, out of say thousands of leads you have, maybe 20% of them that are hyper targeted, hyper personalized, and at the same time highly motivated to actually reach out to you versus say just spraying and preying on everyone, right? This just wastes a lot of your resources and attention. And when say you can just literally contact a handful of people and they would be more likely and receptive to respond to you. I was talking to a guy, right? And he found a multi-million-dollar deal literally just by doing pretty much this. He was just triangulating information across the web, from skip tracing to lead list to using AI to then just kind of manually making sense of all of it together. And then he found a multi-million-dollar deal. So the same thing literally you can do here with AI just by feeding it a CSV list or some sort of Excel sheet list of just leads, and then from there enriching it with data. And all you have to do from here is just feed it into your CRM or say your outbound campaign or however you're doing that, and then just from there personalize the information based on what you found here, and it just makes your targeting super effective. And here's the thing, you can make this even more powerful with automation. So whether this is on Codex, whether this is on Claude, you can make this even more powerful with automations where say, let's say you have the CSV file here, right? Let's just say you have this sort of master CSV file where every single week you will update and give it new information, new leads, right? So what can you do with this automation? And here's why this is so powerful. Maybe once a week, bi-weekly, or every single month, we can do is you can set an automation. Like for instance here, like the interval, it could be weekly, it could be custom, it could be whatever. So let's say it's weekly, right? Every single week there'd be an automation where what you do here is you give it a prompt. And if say you're looking for a specific zip code, let's say there was a zip code 12345, whatever, California, or wherever you're based at, right? Every single week in this zip code, look for new properties that are either off market, on market, or there's new motivation signals based on property of this specific criteria that I'm looking for, whether it's some sort of multifamily unit, whether it's some sort of industrial warehouse, or whether it's, I don't know, something else that you're looking for. You could literally just put in a automation where every single week it searches the web, it enriches this data set, maybe it even enriches new information or existing information inside of your lead database. And then from there, it notifies you. It can notify you via some channel. It can update this list automatically. It can find new motivation signals. It can update the current rows. So there's new signal and new reasons why you can potentially contact someone you already contacted in the past. Maybe there's new leads you can add into this database every single week. So this is super powerful, especially too when it comes to the automation aspect of actually populating the lead list even further and enriching it with even more hyper targeted data. And at the end of the day, it's really just adding an AI layer on top of everything that you're doing. So there's a hyper targeted reason why to go out there out of like all the millions of data pieces out there on the internet, why you should contact this specific person. Because this thing can literally just search the web, make sense of information way better than you process millions of bits of data, and then from there just give you a strong reason why to contact. So if you want to learn more about cool tips like this, how you can use AI agents to secure more deals, make more money, and ultimately find some new unique automations and workflows, so at the end of the day, grow your business even more, subscribe to my channel. I produce videos like this every single week. So that'll be it for this one, and I'll see you in another one.